All right, going to talk about the second game to finish today in this beginning of the 2017 NBA playoffs, and that's between the matchup between the third-seeded Toronto Raptors and the sixth-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. And to be honest, I'm not totally surprised by this outcome, but I did think that the game would be more competitive than this. Milwaukee just came into Toronto and the roles look reversed. It's like Milwaukee was the third seed and the Raptors were the sixth seed, man. Like I keep trying to tell people, man, like I'm just never been sold on Toronto as one of the better teams in the NBA. I just Demar Derozan to me is a superstar. Okay, I'm convinced about him. He's a superstar. Kyle Lowry, I understand that he's been injured. I get that, man. I understand it. So I'm gonna give him a pass today for his performance. But if this continues with him, it's you look at last year and how he consistently had bad shooting night after bad shooting night in the playoffs. Did not step up when his team needed him, and it wasn't like he was like being guarded, contested very well, was great defense. A lot of times he was just missing open shots, man. As a all-star, man, I've never been sold on Kyle Lowry, man. I just see him as sort of like I don't know, man, like Dana Barros maybe. Like Dana Barros wasn't a superstar. I don't know, man. Maybe he's just I don't know. Maybe that's not a good comparison right now, but I'm just I've never been sold on the Raptors, man. And especially now that they don't have Bismack Biyombo. They don't have the inside presence they had last year. Milwaukee just came into Toronto and spanked them, man. They went up by 8 after the first quarter, mostly due to just DeRozan and to an extent Serge Ibaka. I got to give Serge Ibaka a shout out. 19 points and 14 rebounds. They were able to come back and take the lead at halftime, but after halftime, man, Milwaukee just dominated this ball game, and they really put the clamps on the Raptors defensively. You look at Matthew Dellavedova in this team on this team, Milwaukee Bucks, right, and you see what's missing with Cleveland Cavaliers this year. DeRozan was big, 27 points, 8 rebounds. Lowry did not show up. I think he was, 3 for 10, 2 for 10, 2 for 11, 4 points, 34 minutes of play. Really did nothing. So, Toronto, once again, what did the graphics say? This is the ninth consecutive series that they've dropped the first game. So they're going to have to make some adjustments in game 2. They don't want to go down 2-0 against Milwaukee, because if they do, they're going to have a very short playoff tenure. What else do I want to say? I agree with Doris Burke and company toward the end when Giannis, I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name. I still don't have it down pat. Don't want to mispronounce it. I need to go to speech therapy to learn how to pronounce his last name. But when Giannis blocked DeMar DeRozan's shot, that shouldn't have been a technical. Okay, like this. First of all, this is the playoffs, and this is. And I texted a friend of mine. I said, Doris Burke's panties just got flooded with fucking pussy juice when he blocked that shot. I'm just saying. I mean, it's just a mannish thing to do. We're men, okay, and I think this has a lot to do with. I know this looks like a stretch to some people, man, but this is just my opinion, okay? I think the rule changes that occurred in the NBA in the mid-2000s, not only has it affected the game and the way it's played, I think it's also affected the players. Men generally, you think the people who play basketball on some level, various levels, are competitive. But it's like the way the game is played now, it's not as physical. Players have to refrain from inserting their emotional. How can I explain this? Players aren't inserting their emotions into the game as much. It's like a business more, because it's just the way the game has to be played now, that they're transferring and focusing their competitiveness into other things, like off the court stuff, like trying to get rich or have the best cars or fucking the best women or what have you, as opposed to where a lot of it should be, where it should be more focused on the basketball court, being as great a basketball player as you can be, trying to kill your opponent. Because in my opinion, I think when you play basketball, whether you're playing friends or not, it should be looked at as war. That's just my mentality, okay? Maybe some people look at it differently. That's just me. I couldn't survive in the NBA today because I would foul out. If I was an NBA player, I would foul out constantly, and I would be out the league in about 1 or 2 seasons. It just, I don't know. It's just a totally different thing now. But going back to the game I was basically talking about, Demar Derozan has been great all year, much improved. He, in my opinion, earned his money, okay, this season, but it wasn't enough. Ibaka tried, but it didn't get enough help from others. Greg Monroe, also, I'll give a shout out to Greg Monroe, the former Piston, big for the Raptors, 14 points and 15 rebounds. But like I said, Matthew Dellavedova, 11 points, and it's just crazy defense. Shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks, man. They earned this victory today. They came into Toronto and beat them by 14. At some stretches of the game, they were up by 20. I mean, it wasn't close at all. And if I haven't said it, Giannis, I already said Giannis' numbers. I think I did. 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists if I didn't say it. Giannis is he's really improving. He's developed now. He's really developed that jump shot now, turnaround jump shot. We already knew about the physical nature of his game. In some ways, I know some people were comparing him to Scottie Pippen, but with the body type he has, I'm going to go a little old school with this, but he kind of reminds me a little bit more of a honeycomb Gus Johnson type guy. That's who he kind of, if I had to think of one player, he's not as good as Gus Johnson, but that's who he kind of reminds me of a little bit. But tell me what you guys think.